Gatewood,
Present.
Ms. Johnson,
Present.
Dr. Murillo,
Present.
Mr. Ploger, Ms. Simulton,
Present.
Ms. Venmus.
Present. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Dr. Telgadi? Yep, we are.
Good evening. We are excited this evening to welcome. We have some very important student recognitions. So the Board of Education is always thrilled to celebrate and honor our students. So the board will join us in the middle, and we will welcome our students. Teresa will walk us through.
Good evening, everyone. The Board of Education is proud to acknowledge the award-winning efforts of our students who have received state and/or national recognition for their school-related, skills-related, and athletic-related activities. This evening, the first group of students to be recognized are students who participated at the Business Professionals of America National Leadership Conference from Oswego East High School. The Oswego East BPA chapter earned the Quality Chapter Distinction Award for having met all of the criteria needed for an actively involved chapter. The students are led under the direction of Ms. Stacy Stadger and Mr. Graham Brown. Students, as your name is called, please step there by Cindy and then come up to be greeted by the Board of Education and Superintendent and remain there so we can take a picture at the end. First up, Tyler Becker, Oswego East, 10th place. Tyler had 10th place in Parliamentary Procedure Concepts and the Ambassador Torch Award. Next is Aaron Bathra, Oswego East, 2nd in SQL Database Fundamentals. Jensen Kuhnrad, Oswego East, 1st place Business Law and Ethics, 3rd place Meeting and Event Planning, 4th place Human Resource Management, Executive Officer Scholarship, and the National Technical Honor Society Scholarship. Next is Krisha Majmundar, Oswego East, 9th place, Prepared Speech, Ambassador Torch Award. Next is Andrew Medrano, Oswego East, 3rd place, Prepared Speech. Now we would invite up any coaches, administrators, or anyone else here this evening from the team to join us for a photo. Oh, I'm sorry, we missed Emma. Miss Emma Koo, Oswego East Ambassador Torch Award. Get cozy, guys.
Oh, I feel much better about that.
Not a problem.
Our next group of students being honored tonight are recognized for their athletic accomplishments during the last semester of the 23-24 school year. Haley Suraja, Oswego East, IHSA Girls Track and Field, 6th place pole vault and all-state recognition. She's coached by Mr. Steve Idaran. Next is Dontrell Young, Oswego High, IHSA Boys Track and Field, 5th place, 400 meter. Next, we have a relay team of Austin Ward, Daria Trevetti, Jack Schultz, and Eddie Bozette. Oswego East IHSA Boys Track and Field, 7th place in all-state recognition and 4x8. And we have Anya Gulbranson, Oswego East, recognized by the IHSA Soccer Coaches Association as one of the 99 placers for the Illinois All-State team. Okay, if we could invite up any team coaches, administrators, please join us for a photo. And students, if you could kind of fill in the front. And our final group of students being recognized tonight are two students from Oswego East High School who competed at the Illinois High School Journalist State Competition as a team, and they placed first in the category of yearbook theme development. Congratulations to Annabelle Locke and Magdalena Morkowski, both first place Oswego East. Again, if we have any advisors, administrators that would like to join for the photo. Okay, thank you, students and board. Congratulations.
We're moving on to 5.1. Can I have a motion to move the procurement card audit to a future meeting date?
Second.
I gotta do it. I gotta make it first.
Mary Jo, it's contagious.
I make a motion to move the procurement card audit to a future Board of Education meeting.
Second.
Ms. Simulton,
Aye.
Ms. Venmus,
Aye.
Dr. Murillo,
Aye.
Ms. Johnson,
Aye.
Mr. Gatewood.
Aye.
Oh, motion passes 5-0. Okay. Okay. All right, 6.1, public hearing on the fiscal year 24 budget amendment. So we will have 3 opportunities for public comment tonight. The first opportunity will be during the public hearing on the fiscal year 2024 budget amendment, which we are about to convene. If you wish to make a comment about the fiscal year 25 tentative budget, please make it during the public comment portion of that hearing, which we will convene next on the agenda. If you wish to make a comment about some other matter unrelated to the public hearing, you may do so during the third opportunity for public comment. Please make sure that you note on your comment card during which portion you wish to speak. We will now hold the public hearing on the fiscal year 2024 budget amendment. So this is the public hearing convened by the Board of Education of the Community Unit School District 308 regarding the fiscal year budget amendment. At this time, I would like to ask Amanda Sitar to give information updates, if any, on the fiscal year 2024 amendment.
Thank you. There are no updates. The FY24 budget was amended due to administrative limitations, largely in part to staff being charged to incorrect account lines. We have partnered with HR to adjust these lines to ensure staff are charged the correct accounts. The bottom line did not change.
Thank you. Ursula, is there any public comment? Thank you. Okay, and now the board asks the members of the public to comment on the fiscal 24 budget amendment. So when the secretary calls your name, I ask
No,
that
yes, they don't.
there is none. Okay. Right. We're moving to 6.2, the public hearing on the fiscal year 25 budget. We will now hold a public hearing on the fiscal year 25 budget. If you wish to make a comment about the fiscal year 25 tentative budget, please do so during the public comment portion of this hearing. If you wish to make a comment about some other matter unrelated to the public hearing, you may do so during the third opportunity for public comment. So this is the public comment. This is the public hearing convened by the Board of Education of the Community Unit School District 308 regarding the fiscal year 25 budget. At this time, I would like to ask Amanda Sitar to give information and updates on the fiscal year 25 budget.
Thank you. The FY25 budget was presented on April 22nd, 2024. Public notices were given on the budget, and it was on display for more than 30 days online and in our office.
Thank you. Ursula, is there any public comment? No public comment, okay. And now the board asks members of the public to comment. Oh, sorry. So we are now closing the public hearing, and at this time, we will close the public hearing on the fiscal year 25 budget. And now we are moving on to to 7.1, our public comment. So on behalf of the Board of Education, I would like to thank you for attending tonight's meeting. We value the feedback we receive from our members of the public and encourage everyone to take an active interest in their public school system. Residents interested in speaking to the Board of Education this evening are asked to have completed a comment card and presented it to the secretary to the board. When the secretary calls your name, I ask that you come to the microphone, state your name for the public record, and provide your feedback. Please note that comments are limited to 5 minutes per person and that no discussion of personnel matters, stating staff names or responses to your questions are permitted. The board does not participate in discussion during public comment. Follow-up to your questions or concerns will be addressed by administration through the contact information provided on the comment card. Thank you.
Maria Mullen.
Hello.
Hello.
In fairness, I would just like to say that I did send an email out this afternoon to respective community members about the recent proposed changes to the German 3-4 program. I am here to support my student and other students who will be affected by the proposed changes to the German 3-4 program. I respectfully request you read my email and thoughtfully consider the impact any decisions will have on the students and teachers involved. Thank you for your thoughtful consideration and time regarding this issue.
Thank you.
Thank you. She wants to say something?
No, I think she's the other card.
Oh.
My name is Kendall Mullen,
Yep, it's on.
and I am an incoming junior at Oswego East High School. I have heard the recent proposals for changes in the German program across both OE and Oswego High School. I know that myself and other fellow students planning to take German 3-4 in the 2024 to 2025 school year are not fond of the idea to combine OE and Oswego German 3-4 classes. I know multiple OE students who are now forced to drop German in the fall or now have to choose between German and another class. I don't really understand how having Oswego High School students travel to OE is productive for anyone. I also know for a fact that having some students attend class online would horrifically disrupt the learning environment. It didn't work during COVID and it's not going to work now. It is too disruptive of classroom and teacher plans. Because of this current proposal, I've reconsidered my decision to continue the German program, which is unfair to me, my classmates who may consider the same, and my teacher. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Kevin Pulfer.
Hello, my name is Kevin Pulfer. I'm a lifelong Oswego resident, current parent of 3 students at OHS, and myself a graduate of OHS. It is written in the SD308 website that our school district is in a continued pursuit of world-class instruction that ensures that students are always prepared for the future. However, I question whether the recent decision to no longer offer the Building Trades 2 course at OHS is demonstrating that the district is truly in pursuit of preparing all students for the future. The Building Trades program has a long history at OHS. When it was previously offered, the Building Trades program was known not just in the school, but throughout the community as a whole. Seniors from a variety of trades courses would use their skills gained throughout the high school to build and sell a house in the community. The funds from the sale of the property would be used to purchase another property for future projects, as well as offset other school district costs, a definite benefit to taxpayers. Residents could see the tangible benefits of the program each and every year. It is my understanding that during the difficult financial times of 2008, and the slowdown in home sales, the program was discontinued. Over the next few years, preparing students for the real world will change drastically. By looking at anticipated job growth, the Bureau of Labor Statistics predicts the following. Average job growth for all occupations overall is going to hover around 3% through 2032. However, the job growth in the trades industry as a whole is expected to grow 10%. Triple the average of all other occupations. While I applaud SD308 in providing options for students seeking a profession in the trades, I'm disappointed in the decision to retract the offering of Building Trades 2 at OHS for 2024-2025. SD308 offers introductory and intermediate instruction in a variety of trades. However, Building Trades offers only an introductory course. Building Trades 2 was scheduled to be reintroduced as an intermediate course solely for seniors. The course catalog showed that the prerequisites for the course included completion of Building Trades 1, as well as being in their senior year. Based off of those 2 prerequisites alone, the district had to have had a projected enrollment based off of current Building Trades 1 students that are going to be seniors prior to even offering the course in the course catalog. If there was a concern of low enrollment at that time, why would the course be offered? Last month, the Board of Education recognized place winners from Skills USA. Skills USA is a competition encompassing over 150 career and technical skills. It's not solely an Illinois state competition, but it is held in all 50 states, culminating in a national competition. This underscores the importance of the trades. The Building Trades team that brought home a second-place award for the state of Illinois was beyond excited and hungry to win next year, knowing that they would already be enrolled in and would be practicing their skills in Building Trades too. However, 2 weeks later, after being recognized, they were inconsistently notified that Building Trades 2 would no longer be offered at the high school. Some students were informed, others simply found out through word of mouth. While some may see the decision to no longer offer the Building Trades 2 course as simply not offering a new course next year, the path that these award-winning students are choosing means that the district is choosing to deprive them of the ability to further their skills in the field that they're pursuing as their career. As seniors, their lasting memory of the Oswego School District will be the fact that the decision makers failed them in their final year. These students made difficult decisions during the course selection process in order to take Building Trades 2. Some students chose not to graduate early next year in order to join a union or to begin trade school, simply because of their desire to take this course. Others chose not to take other advanced coursework. How is the district preparing these outgoing students for the future when they lead them on throughout the entire school year to only cancel the course 2 weeks before summer? I can't help but wonder whether this decision would be any different if this was a college prep course with low enrollment, rather than a career course for only seniors.
Mr. Filfer, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Greg Wolcott.
Good evening. My name is Greg Walcott. I'm a parent in the district. I'm a career educator, an educational consultant who works in schools all over the United States and Canada, and a fellow assistant superintendent for teaching and learning in a different district for over 15 years. As someone who participates in monthly board meetings, first of all, I want to thank you for your dedication and all that you do for schools. I personally spent all day today planning for my board meeting next Monday night. I've always been incredibly impressed with and extremely proud to have my children attend Oswego schools. We have incredibly dedicated staff. Our schools provide incredible support to our students with the variety of needs they have, and the district and administration have traditionally done an excellent opportunity offering students opportunities and before school as well as after school. I think it's to be commended, the new water polo, all these different programs. I think this can be commended that we do that. That's why I was really shocked and disappointed by the recent decision made at Oswego High School regarding the building trades class. A year ago, I stood here in the crowd with the celebration group because my son had just won the state cabinet building contest and was getting ready to go to Atlanta where he ended up finishing 15th in the country, but representing the high school. On May 15th, my son, who's a junior, came home and informed us his Building Trades 2 class would not be offered next year. Although he had chosen classes in November he chose those classes. All of a sudden, May 15th, he was told that those classes weren't available. And he was then told that he had to go to the counselor and find extra classes to fill out his schedule. Now, these aren't, as you all remember, maybe when you went to school, these are not first choice classes, right? They are the classes that only have a seat or two remaining, which is incredibly disappointing because everyone else got a choice in November, and now my son and a dozen others are out. This decision just really leaves me puzzled. You know, again, with background, I understand how these things are made. However, if it's class size, that really doesn't make sense to me. Because again, as Mr. Pulver said, they anticipated enough classes in November, and all of a sudden, our students in November, and now it's gone. And I have a daughter who graduated a year ago, and she sat in language classes that only had 6 and 7 students in it, both her junior and senior year. And I am told because we have an incredible staff, I know many of the staff members, that there are over a dozen classes already set and planned to run next year at Oswego High School that have less than 10 kids in them. So again, class size doesn't make sense. Then I thought, okay, the other thing could be as a teacher. Maybe we don't have a teacher, but we do have a teacher who is willing to teach that course, who could take the overload, and we have a wonderfully negotiated contract where that overload pay for him is actually a lot less if we went out to the market to try to find somebody to teach those classes. So kudos to you on that from a professional perspective. Then I thought, okay, is it cost? Well, it can't be cost of extra materials because our program is so well supported that we have a large variety of community members who've already said they would donate and pledged donations to the program, so we can get back to what Mr. Pulfer said previously, was the opportunity to build a house for the community. And so it's like, that doesn't make sense. And then lastly, I think, okay, well, maybe it's a need issue. And it can't be a need issue. First of all, again, Mr. Pulfer pointed out the research in the future, but I'll point out this research. One of the things we all get rated on is absenteeism. Absenteeism at Oswego East is 29.7%, well over the state absentee average, although we're all suckers. Absenteeism at Oswego High School is 37.8%, 8% higher. So I would think we'd be doing everything we can to keep kids in school. With that, then, the other point I want to point out about that is, let's look at graduation rate, another thing that we hold dearly. Graduation rate, we are at Oswego High School is at 92% of the students graduate. In the CTE program, we're at 97.5%. So I'm telling you, these programs make a difference. And then lastly, I got 1 second, I'm just going to say, having knowledge of these statewide CTE programs and have worked with colleagues around the country, we have some of the best teachers in this district. Let them do their magic. Yeah. Give them a couple kids and let them do their stuff. Thank you.
Thank you.
Beth Pulver.
Good evening. I'm Beth Pulfer. I'm a concerned parent coming to you for the district's reasoning behind canceling the Building Trades 2 class at OHS for the upcoming school year. My son, Zach, has a long history of being involved in the trades. At a very young age, he taught himself how to fix tractors and other small engines. He has helped alongside others to work on electrical repairs. He quickly learned that the trades is his passion and where he belongs. He started at OHS excited to take on as many of the CTE classes as he could to gain knowledge in the trade he would like to work in for his career. This past school year, Zach was enrolled in the Building Trades 1 class. In this class, he realized that he enjoyed learning about and working in construction. I believe Dr. Kelgati came in and actually talked to Zach about that class and about Building Trades 2. And Dr. Kelgati was very excited about this program and investing in the future of these students and this CTE class. Zach excelled so much in this class that in the second semester, he became a TA. And he gained the knowledge and confidence to be a team lead. He organized a team and approached the district to get permission for the team to go to Skills USA. This is the first time that OHS has had a participant in the Team Works category. The team placed second in the state. This board recognized that team at the May board meeting. Zach was very excited to see Building Trades 2 in the course registration catalog in December, maybe even November. He, along with others, signed up to take this 2-credit-hour class. They would be able to take what they had learned in the introduction course and expand on those skills in a more advanced way. He talked about this class all second semester. From our understanding, schedules were finalized in January or early February. Then, to our surprise, on May 16th, he found out that this class will no longer run for the upcoming school year. He found out by word of mouth. Zach now has a 2-credit-hour chunk of time unfilled for the upcoming school year. I have been told that a counselor will be reaching out to him shortly to fix his schedule. However, I would urge the district to move forward with the Building Trades 2 instead of having those students pick a class they are not interested in just to fill the time. These students already made sacrifices in their schedules to allow for the Building Trades 2 class. Zach didn't audition for the top bands because those bands have class during the time Building Trades 2 would be running. I have heard that class size might be the issue as to why the class isn't going to run. If low class size is an issue, then why doesn't the same standard apply to other classes, like many of the foreign language classes that are in the single-digit or low teen enrollment? Also, why wait until May to make this decision? The district would have known in February that they didn't have the numbers to run the class. From what I've heard, many of the administrators want Building Trades 2 to run for the 24-25 school year. I have also heard that the board members were not the reason behind canceling, and you may not even know cancellation was happening until tonight. So who made the decision, and is this decision the best interest of the students? Thank you for your time this evening. I hope that you consider what is best for the students and their learning. Starting the Building Trades 2 class back up will have a long-lasting impact on not just these students next year, but every other student that goes through our district.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is that it? Okay. So we'll move on to 8.1, and I'll invite our superintendent, Dr. Kelgati, to give his superintendent report.
Good evening, board. It's those listening, it's just such an honor to hear these exciting celebrations we had tonight. I got to tell you, when we started this evening, seeing our students, just a moment of pride for our community. So much diversity in the successes we see in our community, and even though summer break is underway for many of us, it's great to be able to have those moments of celebration. So thank you, Teresa, for ensuring that those students came through and we had a chance to honor them. Summer break is definitely under the way because this is a very busy time for our school administrators. They're involved in lots of learning and collaboration and developing plans for next year. Last week we had a day where we brought together every single one of our administrators together, and we really centered thinking about what does leadership mean in our context of our society? What does it mean to celebrate the successes of our students through this lens of representation, through this lens of bringing the best of who we are, and this idea of rightful presence. As we continue down the path of our strategic roadmap, it is important to know and understand how their individual work is part of a larger collective. That was a big part of our focus, leading to greater alignment, sustainability, and student success. Ultimately, our shared vision is at the intersection of where high-quality instruction, the effective systems that we're working to build, and teams and equity and rightful presence come together. A lot of the work you're going to see our administrators participating will bring those big ideas together. The end of June will also mark the beginning of the next chapter for our retirees this year. Among them are several district leaders, including our Associate Superintendent, Faith Dahlquist. Faith, you have led honorably this community through some of the most challenging times that I can't even imagine. Like COVID, through COVID, your significant strategy work helped bolster and bring success where sometimes it felt like there was no possibility. And many people will never forget that level of focus and sacrifice you made. You've also always been a constant cheerleader for our staff and students and community. And your tenure of service to not just in this district, but your long tenure of service to education is one to be proud of and that we are honored to know and to be able to stand with you. Congratulations to you. We also congratulate this evening our Director of Junior High Education, Shannon Luders, our Director of English Learners, Renee Sartore, and the Churchill Principal, Larry Piatek. I know staff have had many opportunities to celebrate these individuals, and this week we have some more of them. So board members, please look out for an invite. If you have some time, please join us. So we will invite, just a reminder, this week from 2:30 to 4 p.m., we invite all staff to come by the district office where you'll have a chance to just greet and celebrate and give a little bit of the love for all the sacrifices they've given to this community.
Is that Thursday?
Thursday from 2:30 to 4 p.m. at the district office. Okay. This coming weekend, several staff members will participate in our Aurora Pride Parade. We're so grateful for these celebrations that help create a community of support for our LGBTQ plus individuals and honors their movement, their history of bringing equal rights to all. The parade will be held downtown in Aurora on Sunday, June 9th at noon. We also will be welcoming, over the next few months, many new staff members as open positions are filled and new educators come aboard. We are so proud of this great district and just love this opportunity to welcome others into this supportive community. I want to thank our human resources team and our school leaders and directors who are investing a lot of time to identify really some of the most brilliant individuals who are really seeking to join our hard work here in this district. And with that, I'm going to invite the board to share any additional special celebrations.
I'm so excited to go first. The Oswego High School girls softball team they are the IHSA sectional champs, and today they played in the super sectional and they won. So congratulations to them. This is the first for the program, and congratulations to them on a fantastic season, and good luck to you in state competition next week.
Grand Park Elementary has offered a weekly sign language club to the 3rd through 5th graders, led by their dedicated speech pathologists. Emma Joyce, a senior at OH, selflessly volunteered her time to support the students. They concluded their year by creating a heartwarming video in sign language. We should have brought it tonight. We extend our heartfelt thanks to all involved who helped bring this enriching opportunity to our students.
Good evening, everyone. The district, another announcement here. The district is offering a kindergarten step-up class for kindergarten students this August. Throughout the week, students will begin to learn kindergarten routines, become familiar with expectations, and establish some of the primary classroom readiness skills that will make the start of kindergarten just a little bit easier. The class is from 9 to 11 a.m. from July 29th to August 2nd, and you can visit the district website to sign up by June 7th.
Okay, June is Hunger Awareness Month. As a reminder, our district partners with Northern Illinois Food Bank and the Kendall County Community Food Pantry to bring groceries to area families needing additional food. All community members are invited to take what they need. This Friday, the pantry will be open at the old Trauber Building at 61 Franklin, beginning at 6 p.m. And next Thursday, a mobile pantry will open at 5 p.m. at Long Beach.
As Dr. Kelgati said, June is Pride Month. We stand in unity with those celebrating. Our district's commitment to rightful presence means each person and their story belong here. We are proud of the unique fabric that creates our beautifully diverse community. Truly, we are stronger together, and I hope to see a lot of you at the parade on Sunday. I'll be there.
Also in June, we recognize Juneteenth, which is June 19th, sometimes referred to as the second Independence Day in the United States. This important date represents the end of slavery through the final enforcement of the Emancipation Proclamation. This is a federal holiday, and in its honor, all district offices will be closed on June 19th.
This is the second year that the elementary schools presented one student from each of their schools with the Dr. Lindsay Allen Award. During her tenure with the district, Dr. Allen was a valued and respected leader, colleague, and a friend to the entire SD308 community. Dr. Allen passed away unexpectedly on July 27, 2022. This special award ensures her legacy of learning, giving, and leadership will continue.
Okay, moving on to 8.2, board committee reports. So we start off with our equity and teaching and learning report. So we have a document which is available to the public to review what happened within the meeting. And so I would ask anyone who's interested to please review that document. and as it relates to our committee, I would ask that we, if there are any questions, if we could move from one report to the other. There's nothing. No questions. All right, the Finance and Facilities Report. Are there any questions? All right, and the Policy and Legislative Report. Okay. And we're moving on to 8.3, Board Member Comments. Any board member comments? Would you like to start, Mary Jo?
Sure. Well, as everyone is aware, school's out. The members of the cabinet and the board were at a couple graduations a few weeks ago for both Oswego East and Oswego High. Additionally, there were some other celebrations, some of which I was able to get to. There were there were alumni walks at all of the individual elementary schools, which were wonderful. And again, to see the elementary school kids just admire the seniors walking by was pretty amazing. Also, there were some 8th grade recognitions for all of the students that were moving on from their respective junior high onto either Oswego East or Oswego or wherever they might be going. So I was able to get to a couple of those, and they were very positive. They were very positive, and quite frankly, they were quite fun. That's all I have.
Great.
I just wanted to thank the administration at Plank for allowing me to be one of their speakers at their promotion ceremony last week. It was truly an honor and something that you don't take lightly as a board member, and it was a beautiful perspective to have sitting up there watching all these students excited to go to high school.
I'll just say a few words because, and my words are actually just showing appreciation for Faith Dahlquist and your leadership. Our first 2 years on the board was very, very interesting, to say the least.
I like that. I like the way you put that.
Yes. And not only as a new board member, but you really were the guiding light to help me become familiar with not only the role, but the district. And so I thank you for your passion and your dedication that you exhibit, not only toward the kids, but also the staff. And I thank you for your leadership and your direction over the years. And as you know, I know, we talked a lot about how many hours you have put in. I don't, 25 years of board meetings. And again, that says it all. But again, thank you so much. From the bottom of my heart, I appreciate all that you have done for me. So I can only imagine if you multiply that by thousands. So thank you.
Yeah, so if I look at you, I'm going to cry.
I'm already there, you know me.
I mean, so your leadership is something that, I mean, we're all going to talk about it. We're all going to admire it. And so I don't think I need to say much more about that. But you and I bonded over so many things, right? When I would come into your office, I always look forward to looking at your shoe calendar because it had all these really cool, quirky shoes on it, and we love shoes. And so I always, before we even started a meeting, I had to make sure I looked at all the shoes. And, and then just experiencing how your family has these exotic meats that you guys are always, experimenting with, and I always look forward to hearing, like, what were you eating this time? And then just, how I'm looking forward to you enjoying the next journey in your life. Like, you've worked so hard for so long.
Please add sleep.
And now, getting out on the boat with your husband and enjoying Florida and Colorado and Utah and all these different places that he's been experiencing, but you haven't. And when you have been there, you've been working most of the time. Like, you're on 24-hour call. And so I just want to see you enjoy what you've earned. So thank you so much for the time that you've spent.
Thank you.
And so now still, this is another bittersweet moment because Maureen, this is her last board meeting with the District 308. And, you know, on behalf of the board, sincerely, deepest appreciation for what you've done for our district. You know, 12 years is a long time. It's a long time to us just bonding, right? And you've done an exceptional job of keeping us informed and being the board attorney, and then what you've done for the administration and all the calls that had to be made and all the work that you've done. And I know you would see it as, this is just what I do, right? Mm-hmm. You know, you talked to me about your dad and how long he, you know, was in one place, right? And you're like, you've been on your role for how many years?
With this law firm, 30 years.
30
Wow.
years.
Mm-hmm.
So we understand like the foundation, what your dad instilled in you, and
44 years.
44 years, right? And like that's what you know, right? That's what you've seen, and you're loyal, and we appreciate that from you. And so we have a gift. I'll give it to you before you leave, but we just wanted to say thank you. Okay. Now we'll move to 9.1, the consent agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, please?
I make a motion to approve all items under consent, including 9.1, minutes from the Board of Education meeting on May 6, 2024, open and closed sessions. 9.2, the acknowledgement of the FOIA requests received by the district. 9.3, acknowledgement of gifts and or donations. 9.4, acknowledgement of decommissioned items. And 9.5, field trips and for nonprofit organizations.
Second.
Are there any questions on
I have a
yep.
question.
Yes.
Before we.
Yes, go right on.
Maybe I'll say both questions and then someone can respond. My first question is, in regard to the list of decommissioned items, I believe I understand what it's stating, but I'm not sure as a board or as a board member, I'll speak for myself personally, what I'm supposed to be looking for. Like, why are these particular items brought to the board for decommissioning? And then my second question is related to the nonprofit use of our buses. The document that was shared, I just want to be, because there's an estimated cost on there. Is that what they are paying us to rent buses? Or is that what we're incurring because we're allowing them to use our buses? I just want to make sure I'm understanding what the agreement is. And then my understanding is we would approve these. So if there was a nonprofit organization, maybe that was against maybe some of our values or something like that, we could, you know, choose not to allow use of our buses.
Well, Amy, it's Jen. I'm going to actually answer about the gifts and donations and decommissioned items because it's something that we've been looking to do as a board for a very long time as we have really progressed with finance, and it's something that is very customary. We just have never done it. So it brings to the board's attention, oh, look at all of these, let's say, just for an example, Chromebooks are being decommissioned or all of these switches are being decommissioned. It is an awareness that that is happening and that very possibly they need to be replaced. So that is kind of what you're looking at. You don't have to look at a serial number and be like, well, where is serial number 3602? So that's partially it, and then the gifts and donations as well. It's just something that is customary for boards to see, but our finance department is finally, and our new finance leaders are really coming to the table and sharing with us the stuff that we should have had in the past. So I was actually, before you said something, going to give Amanda and Raphael a huge shout out. They have really, everything that we've asked them to do and building transparency for finances in our district, they have really stepped up to the plate. And in it, they have found lots of areas of opportunities where we can be better, and they continue to bring that forward, such as with fees and with bus rental agreements. We never would have known that before, and in this light of transparency, that's why you're seeing this stuff come forward. So I am just eternally grateful to our finance department. Raphael isn't here this evening. Amanda's sitting in. I don't know that we have an answer for the buses.
Yeah, thank you, Jen, for that. So now that makes sense to me. As a board member, I should be looking at that and saying, oh, these are being decommissioned, so it's a possibility that we will be asked to replace these as, provide funds to replace these in the future. Is that what you're saying? And
in some cases.
Yeah, okay.
I can speak to it a little bit more. The decommissioned items are things that are on the asset control list. So those would be items that are more than $2,500 and that have extended their life past what they're worth. And so those items are often decommissioned, and then they would fall off of our asset list.
I have a quick follow-up question. What happens to the decommissioned items? What happens to all the old Chromebooks?
So for electronics, they're usually recycled by companies that will take them and recycle them.
Okay. And textbooks?
Textbooks are usually donated. Sometimes, private schools will take them, or sometimes they're shipped to other places that are in need.
Yeah, we've been looking for some places to donate some of these. These textbooks, some of them are from 2007 that have been in our care and taking up a lot of space actually. So.
And sometimes I also know, just from my past life, it costs us more money to try to find new places for these things. So we just recycle them because it just becomes cost prohibitive at some point. But Amy, like some things also you'll notice, oh, well, we haven't had new curriculum for, since 2007 for specific social studies. And, it really helps to bring, with their new asset inventory process, bring forward things and highlight things that we haven't kind of been keen to before.
Thank you, everyone. Can we speak to the buses?
Yeah, I think Amanda's, we'll have to, we don't know, do we?
Yeah, Ursula has an update. Do you want to just share some information, Ursula? Paula shared.
From Paula Reedy, this is an estimated cost. She put it in the trip tracker to come up with the estimated cost. So yes, that's what they will be paying.
Correct. It's an estimate, and then they usually go back and true up the invoice before they actually send it or get a payment for it.
So will the invoice be penny per penny, dollar for dollar, or?
No, for the estimate, so it's just based on a flat estimate of miles and how many drivers, but sometimes that can vary if they go over the miles or if they have to add other monitors or something to the bus route.
Could you hear her, Amy?
Yeah, I think I pretty much heard her.
Okay.
I guess the question is that cost what they are estimating they will pay us, or that we are providing in kind to them?
No, they will pay
No,
us.
that's the cost that they would be paying.
Yes.
Okay,
We
thank
don't
you.
absorb, they pay for it. Yes.
Right.
But I think as a board, we also have to, this is one instance, but if this became ongoing, we'd have to have a discussion about wear and tear on our buses and how often do we want to use them and so forth. But I think that's why if you bring this to us, it allows us to be a part of that discussion and a part of that decision. So thank you.
Yes.
And then the second part of my question was, we have discretion as a board in regards to the organizations that we're lending or that we're allowing, or because we allow this certain organization to rent our buses, then we have to allow all organizations to rent our buses.
I mean, I think it's up to our discretion. I'm not sure, I guess it would depend on the wear and tear and how they're using our buses if we allow it. but it would be the same as them renting our facilities. As long as they're taking good care of our property, we allow them to do so.
That's a great question, Amy, and I think that that's something that the Policy and Legislation Committee, I think, will, if we could flag that, we'll flag that. So for some review around what those principles are. Did you want to add more to that, Dr. Murillo?
Yeah, I'm specifically thinking about, I don't have the policy right in front of me, but, what organizations that might, we would like to lend or be able to offer, possibly offer, and I'll just speak for myself, possibly offer this to organizations that align with our values. If an organization were to come forth that might not align with our values, and request a bus rental from us, to rent buses from us, are we obligated to do that because we have done that for others, or is that discretion of the board? And maybe we don't have the answer for that right now, and I think that's fine, but I do think it's something that we can flag.
Yeah, definitely there's some issues around consistency as a public institution that we have to attend to based on the law. So we'll definitely flag that and come
Good
forward
point.
with that. So.
Ready? Mr. Gatewood?
Aye.
Dr. Murillo?
Aye.
Ms. Johnson?
Aye.
Ms. Simulton?
Aye.
Ms. Menmuth?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. 10.1 action item, approval of Francis PC as Board of Education attorney. Can I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the law firm Francis PC as the Board of Education attorney and to authorize the board president to execute the engagement letter with Francis as presented.
Second.
Okay, so I have a question, or I have
Yeah.
some comments. So first, I'd just like to share with the public the process.
Should we invite Mr. Crowley up?
Sure, why not?
Yeah. Come on. In case you have a question.
Yeah. This is Brian Crawley. He is our board attorney with Francis. So the process went like this. So in early February, the administration issued a request for proposal for the district's legal services. There was an invitation submitted to 16 legal firms who have been known to have experience with educational institutions. So the RFP was made available also on the district website in early February. So a total of 11 firms submitted their proposal at the end of February, and then the bid packets were opened by the Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Obafemi, on February 29th. And 8 legal firms were selected to participate in the first round of interviews with cabinet members over a 3-day period. After the screening process was completed, the top 3 firms were Francis, Addison, and Robin Schwartz. They were invited to participate in an interview with the board on 2 separate occasions in early April. The next round of interviews was with the Board of Education and the person who would be representing the board. And at that point, Francis was then selected as our board attorney. So, you have some questions?
No.
You have some comments? Or?
Are you going to talk about the conflict of interest in the engagement letter?
I don't have to. I'd welcome you to.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
absolutely.
I think it's very important to understand that one of the things that this board has worked on, and I'll be very honest, I have helped kind of lead the charge, and so if I want to make sure that we're very transparent, is when you are a very large organization, you work with a lot of vendors, and sometimes you work with them and you continue to work with them and you don't realize that you haven't kind of reviewed where you're at and what you're looking for, and your goals change over time. We wanted to, as a board, look at vendors, and we started this probably a year or two ago, any vendors that we had been working with over 3 years and how long we had been working with them and seeing if there was something that we wanted to do differently, or if our goals had changed or what have you. One of these was our law representation, and it was a really good opportunity for us as a board to go through a process of putting an RFP out and doing a search and interview and so forth. And I do also want to say that Addison and Mrs. Lemon were a part of that, and we always ask our incumbents to, be a part of that process. So I think even we were surprised, when we ended up choosing Franzik, as they met and really came to the table with all of the things that we are looking for. And one of them is, and it's going to be a huge change for this board, is that we've always had attorney representation through everything. And one of the ways in which we can reduce our fees and our costs is to make sure that we are using our board attorney judiciously and making sure that do they always need to be there and so forth. And that was something that is going to be a change for us. I do think that with the engagement letter, we do want to look at very specifically putting in some sort of language around conflict of interest. Now, I know that might be a little bit outside of something that you do. I know engagement letters are very standard protocol, but we just want to make sure that we have some conflict of interest language in there. That's something that came out of a discussion that we had. So I'll be frank with you, we probably should have done this before tonight, but I think we're all just on a little bit in summer mode. So if that's okay, before we sign it, I think that's something that we're interested in.
But just to add on to what you're saying, Brian, it was something that we actually discussed, and you made a very concise statement when we were having our discussion. And so just even the statement in regards to how you all currently handle conflicts of interest when dealing with school boards and or your other clients, I think that would be sufficient.
Yeah, first, let me just say we so appreciate the confidence you've placed in our firm, the due diligence you did undertake. We will always be there. Let me just add to that. Yes. But so I want to add to that. As far as the conflict of interest goes, and just so I'm clear, we have no conflicts of interest as we speak with any municipalities,
right,
other governmental bodies that you would most likely interact with here. If something were to result with that, our priority, as it is in other school districts where we happen to represent a municipality, our priority is the school district. So we'll ensure that.
We just want to make sure that's in writing.
Yeah.
Not just because not all of us will be on this board, and
sure,
we know that relationships last beyond our term on a board. So we just want to make sure that's memorialized.
Sure. So I mean, you can approve the engagement letter tonight subject to that revision.
Correct.
I will provide that to you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay.
Do I need to restate it, or just, because it says as presented, so I should say as discussed?
As discussed.
All right, I'll read it. So I make a motion to approve the law firm Franzik PC as the Board of Education attorney, and to authorize the board president to execute the engagement letter with Franzik PC as discussed.
Second.
Mr. Gatewood?
Aye.
Ms. Johnson?
Aye.
Ms. Simulton?
Aye.
Dr. Murillo?
Aye.
Ms. Venmus?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Action item 10.2, approval of equity and rightful presence policy. Can I have a motion, please?
I make a motion to approve the new equity and rightful presence board policy 2:25.
Second.
Any questions, comments?
I just, as a matter of, it really, anybody that knows me well in the administration, Faith will tell you, Heather will tell you, I love documents and active voice. I did mention this at our retreat. I was hoping we would have it in active voice. It's not in active voice, but I look forward to getting this approved because it's something that is incredibly important. So just wanted to state that.
And as we always say, it's a living, breathing document, and it will live and breathe and have its way in every aspect of who we are as a district, and so we can make those changes for sure.
I want to add one thing, which is that if you have not read it and you are watching this evening, and I think for future posterity, this really raises the flag of where it's our North Star.
Yes.
This really becomes our North Star. And as an observer and participant and co-conspirator with the board in the development of the policy, I'm really was very grateful to observe the board's ability to really dig into some really difficult topics the day of our engagement. This is not a board that takes its responsibility lightly, and that was really evident that Memorial Day weekend, where you could have been with your families, and yet here you were, taking the time and really investing a high level of focus into building a document that I really believe for our staff, our students, and our community can really become a clarion call of what is the best of our values. And I don't think it's a surprise that it happened on a Memorial Day weekend. I was at the Memorial Day parade on Monday with many of our veterans and public servants, and I couldn't have been more proud to be a part of this community, to hear just the history of our nation, to have parents come up to me and thank me for being there on Memorial Day parade, and then to have had this like image, I'm very visual, but like this photographic image of our Saturday, thinking about the values we want for our school district that are so aligned to the values that make us who we are as Americans. There is nothing greater and more to celebrate about what our vision is in our Constitution, and this policy helps us get closer to the vision of our Constitution. When we stand here before the flag, that to me is what this policy now does. It says, enough, let's go further. Enough, let's go further. And so I'm so grateful, and I know that it took a lot of work to get there, but I really feel that we need to underscore this for our community. So,
Can I make a point of clarification? You said that we did this work. I do want to honor the fact that, and I look at as I look at our values, because I carry them with me everywhere, it really was the true definition of collaboration.
Wow.
This has been years in the making of hearing stories of special ed students whose needs weren't met, or low-income students' needs that weren't met, or any other marginalized student that needs weren't met. This started with LaTanya back when she worked in the district, and with our committees and that Faith worked on, and so forth. And the other thing that was very powerful for me is that the day that we did meet and we had some of the deepest conversations that I've ever had was also the anniversary of George Floyd's death. And so for us to move this forward is pretty powerful. I also think it comes with a very large charge for you, Dr. Kelgati, which is, I know as a board, we want to see this through everything in the district, and we now have a policy, which is what this board is supposed to do, is write policy to see this through for our students, for our staff, and for our community. So thank you.
And I think you were going somewhere else in terms of who was involved in the
Yes,
process,
so
right?
we didn't write the policy. I just didn't want to totally take credit. Many people.
Go ahead.
No, please.
Well, Dr. Waller and all the teams that were put together
Our
in
equity
order,
committee.
the equity committee, and all of those individuals, all of the stakeholders that were involved, we want to give them credit, because we couldn't have created this policy without all of their help and support,
Collaboration.
right? And yes, a true definition of collaboration. Yeah.
Ready?
Yes.
Ms. Van Meth?
Aye.
Mr. Gatewood?
Aye.
Ms. Johnson?
Aye.
Ms. Simulton?
Aye.
Dr. Murillo?
Aye.
The motion passes 5-0. Action item 10.3, approval of district administrator contracts. Can I have a motion, please?
I make a motion to approve the district administrative contracts as presented.
Second.
Mr. Gatewood?
Aye.
Ms. Venmus?
Aye.
Ms. Simulton?
Aye.
Dr. Mario?
Aye.
Ms. Johnson?
I'm sorry, what number are we on?
5.3.
10.3.
I abstain.
Okay. So motion passes 4 with 1 abstention. 10.4, action item, approval of building administrator contracts.
Actually, we have Dr. Paul, you want to, and Dr. Zemke, you want to welcome?
Yes, I just wanted to welcome to our team. She's a current SD308 educator who is going to be joining our district learning innovation team. Megan Mann is the new director of humanities.
Dr. Zemke?
Yes, I'd just like to take the opportunity to introduce to our team our next Director of Human Resources, Dr. Adam Rusek.
Okay. Action item 10.4, approval of building administrator contracts. Can I have a motion, please?
I make a motion to approve the building administrative contracts as presented.
Second.
Mr. Gatewood?
Aye.
Dr. Mario?
Aye.
Ms. Johnson?
Aye.
Ms. Simulton?
Aye.
Ms. Venmus?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Action item 10.5, approval of personnel report. Can I have a motion, please?
I make a motion to approve the personnel report as discussed.
Second.
Ms. Venmus?
Aye.
Dr. Mario?
Aye.
Ms. Simulton?
Aye.
Ms. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Gatewood?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right. Amanda Sitar, we want to welcome to discuss our financial statements and investment schedule. Board, are there any questions for 11.1?
No questions.
Okay. All right. Next, we have our intergovernment agreement with Community Cares. We have here this evening with us Ms. Early. If there are any questions regarding the intergovernmental agreement,
And Mrs. Vickers.
oh my gosh, I didn't even see it. And Robin Vickers is here. Welcome, our leading partner. So thank you for being here. Any questions for this? Just tremendous. We thank you so much for the care. What a great name for the support that it offers our community. It's really what makes 308. It's such an incredible part of the fiber of what makes us such a successful district. So thank you for your leadership, both of you, and all of us.
Yes.
Any questions? Okay. Next, 11.3, we have the network switch refresh E-rate. We have Mr. Kiger and Kevin McDonald here. We want to thank you all for being here. Any questions for these gentlemen regarding?
Jen? Jen?
Oh, she's just going to see. Oh,
What's she doing?
she's giving hugs.
Lord, what is it? Okay. Humanization.
BAU.
Come on back, right? All right. Any
Okay.
questions?
Any questions regarding the network switch refresh?
Does anybody want to see what it is? We brought it.
Oh, you brought the switch.
Yes.
Let's see this. No, come into the camera. You know, this is a rare moment.
While Mr. Cerrone is not here, he did think it was really cool and asked them to bring it.
Oh, wow. Well, he's missing out, isn't he?
Yeah.
My
Can you
son may
explain
finally
really
watch me on
quickly
TV.
why these are so important and what they do and why we need to replace them?
Yeah, thank
Sure,
you.
absolutely. These switches themselves provide the network connectivity for all the wireless access points, the phones, anything that needs to get to the internet runs through one of these switches in the building. So with the current switches being 7 to 10 years old, to make sure that we have as much connectivity and redundancy that we can, we just need to make sure we replenish them, refresh them to make sure the internet stays up so our children can learn.
All right.
Thank you.
Horton. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dominic was really excited about it.
He
wasn't
was.
He was, yeah.
My kids may actually watch me on TV. I don't know if you heard me. They may watch me because they're switches.
Oh, yeah.
Next up, we want to thank Mr. Queen for being here and giving us any operations department. No, this is operations department fleet refresh.
Do you want
any questions about
any
this
questions?
refresh? And we want to thank. We know that this will come for information tonight and then action the next board.
Action on the next one. I can just give you a little starter. So our oldest truck is 2000, all the way up to 2015. There's 3 trucks that are in bad need of replacing totally. It's just getting too costly to repair these trucks. And they're a very important part to our snow removal fleet. So we got a great deal. We pulled 3 bids, and fortunately, I dabbled in the compared co-ops a little bit, and I was really surprised when a local dealership blew them out of the water. So it worked great. These are really close to a state bid, that what we would get if we'd file for a state bid. So the local dealer gave us a great deal, and I recommend we go with this.
I just have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I know of one, so I don't want to act like it's all, and I'm a community girl. Is there a reason we didn't have dealerships in our district? While I love Jovic's number, they're not part of our district. Is there a reason these particular 2 were chosen?
Just familiarity, right? There's no certain reason why they just picked them. We were just
I would love
reaching
to
out.
see us use vendors in our district, because I know of a Ford dealership review that are 308 family, so I just wonder if we could keep it in the district. Just thoughts for the future.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Queen. And you're back up. Any with operations project update?
Yeah, so operations update. So as everybody's left for summer, our work begins, right? And just to give you a little rundown, we've kicked off this week with our health, life, and safety surveys. These will kind of move in the same genre that we did with the high schools. We'll come back and we'll identify items and mark them off the list and bring them back to the board for approval and move through that process as well again. Several of the capital projects are starting this week and next week. Fox Chase Roof, materials have been ordered. We've had meetings with the contractor, and they're scheduled to start that roof next week. Plank RTU, we're right on course with the setting of those other 4 larger units, with that completion date still sitting at 6/27. We're going to make that timeline and really optimistic. Track projects. OHS, as the rubber 100% laid on track, jump pits, high jump, all those areas are totally covered in the rubber, and we're currently meeting with the coaches and administration at that building to decide the starts and stops and get the lines on it, and we are complete at OHS. Here at East, the rubber.
You want a round of applause? Well, not yet.
Not yet. We've made great progress with Oswego East as well. So we've got the rubber off the oval. We're positioned and set with a meeting with the contractor tomorrow. This contractor also was awarded the asphalt projects, but we will have this meeting tomorrow. He's fully aware that the track comes first, then we move into the parking lots, which the parking lots will move quick. But we're going to have this meeting, and we're going to get this track done and with this contractor and move on. Tennises are wrapping up with color coding over at Oswego High School. And then I just touched base on the Fox Chase and Hunt Club parking lot, which we'll attack that as soon as we complete the D zone here at Oswego East. Well, things are looking great for projects.
All right. Thank you so much. And thank your teams, actually, as we go into this heaviest of work time. So really thank everybody and let them know we appreciate everything we're doing, because day one is coming very soon. So.
Day one is crawling up on us very fast. Yes, sir, Dr. Calgatti.
Yeah. Next, Mr. Bell is here to present our intergovernmental agreements with our municipalities. And we also want to thank, we have a member of our local Oswego Police Force here with us, Sergeant Neri. Welcome. Yes. Mr. Bell? Are there any questions from the board? No?
Are we on the,
Yes, intergovernmental agreement with our
okay, yes, I
municipality.
do have a question.
Yep.
It's more of a comment, but I want to say that I know that one of our priorities in the district is really improving culture and climate, and working with our local municipalities is most definitely one way to do this. I also know that we are, analyzing current systems and where we're spending our funds to make sure that it is, in support of everything else that we're doing. And in this case, I just want to call out the fact that we're going to be paying upwards of $100,000 to over $100,000 for our SROs. And just as we do with our other resources that we pay for in our district, I want to be sure that this is an effective use of our funds. So my encouragement just for the administration is to also review this resource to determine if this is in fact enhancing, the safety in our buildings and assisting in improving the climate and culture of our buildings, just as a way to sweep these types of programs up within our other systems that we're evaluating in regards to climate and culture.
Please.
No, I totally agree, Dr. Murillo, and I think that has been, I think that many board members have brought that before you as well, being so important. And I know that Dr. Kincaid has worked on that a lot with regard to relationship building between our SRO officers and our students and our faculty. Been very important. Good point.
Yeah, definitely very much appreciated. And let's say Dr. Kincaid or Mr. Bell, if you want to add anything. I think one of those is the evidence of that focus that Dr. Kincaid and the team brought last year around ticketing. I think is a great example of what you're describing, Dr. Murillo, around the attention we need to pay to how we're working together and not just falling into patterns of what we expect. And that intentional effort really yielded some things. I also would say, Mr. Bell, if you could talk about other metrics we may start to think about next year that can really kind of measure our impact. So Dr. Kincaid and then Mr. Bell. Oh, you want to start? Okay.
Yes, thank you. We did some very intentional work in collaboration with Oswego Police Department at the onset of this school year around our vaping concerns and drug paraphernalia. Ordinance violations in particular. The state kind of struggled and got stuck in committee, if you will, on legislative push for removing ordinance violations or ticketing for students. That didn't stop us, though. The community policing aspect, the relationship aspect with our local law enforcement has been strong. We looked at it from a restorative lens to understand how we could build that equity-based, that trauma-informed practice. We didn't want our kids to continue to be cited for things that we know could be educated. They could be educated on. An aspect of that is for a first offense of vaping, it's still referred to law enforcement or notified because that's what's in school code, so it's required there. But we deal with those in-house in terms of school-based consequences and learning. That second offense then, if there's a student that has some recidivism with vaping, that referral to law enforcement still doesn't result in referral to the juvenile justice system or an ordinance violation. It's actually turned into the option for them to attend a psychoeducational class with a third-party provider, therapeutic intervention, if you will, and that's completely managed by Oswego Police. We've had roughly, I think, 32 kids this year that have been referred to that class. And so we've seen some really good outcomes from that. Those are going to be things that we continue to address as we go on to reduce those recidivism rates, to keep kids out of that ordinance violation and referral to juvenile justice. We want to really educate the kids, see if there's additional things we can do from a restorative practices perspective, that trauma-informed piece of understanding how they interface with law enforcement. That's not just negative, but it's really more educational. That's for any kid that comes in contact, not just a marginalized population, but any kid in particular. And then we've also seen some intervention with our physical altercations. We've seen those numbers reduce from last year's numbers to this year's numbers. And the work with our program is that if it's a first offense on a physical altercation, was it a major disruption, rather than arresting a student or citing a student from an ordinance violation or disorderly conduct, we've completely removed the idea of using those ordinance violations for disorderly conduct. And so that's been a huge push with our Oswego Police Department to get in early, to get in often, and to try and resolve those conflicts when we have physical altercations that exist. So there's more to come on that. Again, we haven't hit every single aspect of this programming. This has been kind of 1 year in planning, but we see this growing. Not only that students are going to make mistakes, but how do we re-enter kids into the space, because kids are coming back into our buildings. And so we have to have a strong re-entry plan. We have to have a strong repair and restoration for how they enter that educational space, even if they're not going to partner with that individual that they may have had conflict with. But what does that look like for them, and how can we support them best? So we've done a lot of work on that side. Our SROs help to support that work, as well as teach classes, speak to kids. That visible kind of safe person in the building is helpful. But there's a lot of data out there, a lot of research out there. It just really depends on the training that we have, that trauma-informed, that restorative piece, and how they're utilized. And so that's where that strong community partnership comes in with Officer Nearing and being proactive.
Can you, based on what I'm looking at, the handle with care process flowchart that was in the document?
Sure.
And I'm not sure if what you just described is what I'm looking at. Can you just give me a little explanation of what the handle with care process flow is?
Absolutely. As part of Illinois Seek to Help, they kind of rolled out this handle with care concept, right? But essentially, we've seen this work in practice, and that's if a student or a family experiences some type of traumatic event outside of school, and police are involved, there's first responders that are involved, they can simply email us, contact us, whether it's phone, text, email, whatever that is, at the onset of the next school day or even that night. They don't give us details of the actual incident, but they may say, hey, can you handle with care a particular student's name? I've seen this happen. We've actually dealt with it in real time. Sergeant Nearing had an incident that hit his pass line at the PD. He emailed me the student's name. I quickly identified where that student's home school was. I passed that information with that student's name to our student services department in the building, just as a point of contact for that school counselor and that school social worker. They were able to make contact with that student. And it's just kind of an added way of supporting kids and families that may have experienced some type of trauma in the community that we may not be privy to. We're not breaking any confidentiality because we're not sharing specifics, but it's a point of contact.
Got it.
Especially when we know our kids are walking into the building that may have had a rough night, may have had some unfortunate events that have occurred. So a runaway situation, a domestic violence situation, the death of a family member, something that just needs a little bit more TLC. That's the concept behind Handle with Care.
Got it.
That's not us.
Yeah, it's not. I appreciate that. I just want to make sure I understood. So now going back to what you were just explaining, I appreciate the restorative practices and everything that you just described, because I think that my caution has always been, what is our role in it versus calling the police whenever a concern happens in the school, and does it automatically cause the child to now be subject to law enforcement and or their process. And so I'm so excited to hear. Now, one last thing, and I did not read, of course, the entire school code book, but is that that process that you just outlined, it's in the newer version that you sent, or I guess it was in there last year?
Which process?
The process that's maybe not in the school code, but the process that you're followed in regards to the practices of how a student is handled if they have a first offense, second offense, et cetera.
That doesn't exist in the IGA in terms of the intergovernmental agreement.
Correct.
It does exist in our practice and procedure. We have flow charts that are mapped out for our secondary schools and for vaping and for drug paraphernalia and things. We have it for physical altercations as well.
Yeah.
That exists. It's for our building administrators to kind of look at. We can't adhere to if this, then this always.
Yeah.
There has to be the ability to flex based on what a student would need or a family may encounter, because not every physical altercation or not every situation that involves vaping or drug paraphernalia should be treated the same, right? That's how we get into kind of some of those cookie cutter things.
I get it.
But we do have kind of a metric for looking at some of those things. And what we want to understand is there is some level of recidivism that exists, and we have to understand how much support is necessary. But the restorative piece on the physical altercations is further, it goes beyond just physical altercations, right? If you look at restorative in general, 80% of it's proactive and 20% of it's reactive. So there's so much more that we can be doing on the front end prior to a student having a lapse in judgment, prior to a student misconduct issue. And that's also part of what we want to focus on. How are we getting more trauma-informed practice out there? How are we getting more culturally responsive practice out there? Our officers go through a tremendous amount of training for that. We welcome 2 new SROs this school year, one at OE and one at OH. We have certificates for their training. So I know that they're actively participating in those things. How do we bring them in to share that wealth of knowledge with our deans through our investigations, making sure that when our kids, even if they have a misstep, they leave our offices with a sense of hope. They leave our offices with a sense of someone cares for you, someone loves you, you made a poor decision, it's not the end of the world, we're gonna welcome you back. Maybe it's the next day, maybe it's the day after, and we move forward.
Yeah, and that's really where I was backdooring into the because when you think about equity, a lot of the equity happens not even necessarily in the policy, but sometimes in the practice.
Absolutely.
And so I'm just trying to make sure that that there's not a lot of, I know that there has to be subjectivity in how it's implemented, but I just want to make sure that when we're talking about intergovernmental agreements with our SROs, it sounded like I heard you talk about the partnership, because regardless of if we have internal practices, if their practices are not consistent with ours, then if they're called, they can immediately take action according to what their policies and procedures are, as opposed to what our desires of being restorative to the child. So,
and we have those debriefing conversations in the event that there's an incident or something like that. I mean, we're following up constantly. We're kind of looking at, could we have done this differently? Could we have done this better? Those after action reports are really critical. But it's also that philosophy you talked about of like, when we engage with an individual, what's that first step? How are we even stepping to that youth? How are we stepping to our staff? And so that's the power of a resource officer who's been trained as a juvenile officer versus a patrol officer that you're pulling off the street that's responding. Not every patrol officer is a trained juvenile officer, so in the event that you call 911 and they respond to a junior high or an elementary school, we're not getting that SRO that's out of Oswego East or Oswego High School. Those officers do respond, but that training is critical. And Sergeant Naring's really good, but he's not always there every single day at every single building to respond, but he's usually the second one walking through the door if he's not the first. So it's critical.
If I may, and I think Dr. Murillo was really also talking about just conceptually SROs. It is definitely something that I know that we've talked about as a board, but I love that we're continuing the conversation, Amy, and I think it's really important. I think we went to Dr. Kincaid, maybe 2 years ago, and really talked about how do we talk about this situation? How do we make sure that SROs are used in the way that we need them to be used, but also it's a balance with making sure we're keeping safety as well. We can't forget the integral safety role that they play in situations. So I feel like I keep saying your name. If you want to respond, I don't know.
Dr.
We
Kincaid.
we started that real philosophical, like,
Right, and it really is a continuum. From the work that Mr. Bell has mentioned, especially with Sergeant Nearing and Chief Baston, we met at the beginning of the year and sat down because especially the tickets were a joint, agreement to what can we do differently, of how can we work, and the two main areas that we thought education and specific contact with students were in the vaping and in the physical contact. But starting back a couple of years ago, I'm really looking at also the continuum of the involvement of the SRO. Mr. Bell mentioned they're involved with our dual credit class and providing some workings with our students. They're involved in our drills that are required. So they try to, it is not just in situations of behavior that is not the best decision, but really trying to involve within, the community, both the school and the community at large.
Yeah, so Sergeant Nearing, I knew him when he was Officer Nearing. He was the SRO at Oswego High School. So I just want to thank you for marrying the compassion and the humanization of students with the skills that you need to keep everyone safe. And I appreciate it, and I've seen your heart all along the way. And, just keep climbing. Thank you so much for what you're doing and the skills and the compassion that you're showing other officers in this role, because we need, we want our students not to be traumatized more when they're at school, but we want that compassion, we want that restorative practices, we want the trauma-informed, we want it all, so our students understand what it means when they make a mistake, that it's not the end for them, but they can learn, it'll be a teachable moment, and they can move past it.
Especially when it's their first interaction with
Yes.
a law enforcement officer.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I started the conversation, so I opened with the question, so I just want to thank everyone for the conversation, and I look forward to, seeing more about what this partnership might do for our students. So thank you all.
Thank you for bringing it up.
Thank you for raising the issue.
Thank you.
Okay, 11.7, intergovernmental agreements with neighboring school districts for special education. We have Brad Vertain this evening with us and Amanda. Any questions for this? Okay. Next, we have our Title I school-wide plans, Boulder Hill and Long Beach Elementary School, as well as Plank Junior High. I'm going to invite Dr. Kincaid is here if there are any, just a brief synthesis, and then if there are any questions. So thank you, Dr.
Very brief. For Boulder Hill and Long Beach, we currently operate school-wide Title I programs. This gives us the flexibility due to their current level of low-income students to spend our Title I funds that are allocated to those two buildings on any student. Currently, our other 6 schools run a targeted Title I program, which means that they can only spend their Title I funds on those specific students. We were monitoring over the 23-24 school year the low-income rates of Plank. They have exceeded the 40%, so we're bringing you their initial school-wide plan to allow for greater flexibility at Plank also for the 24-25 school year. So in order to operate school-wide plans, we need to have an approved Board of Ed plan. So.
All right.
Madam President?
Action item 12.1, approval of bills for payment. Can I have a motion, please?
Yes. I make a motion to authorize the payment of bills in the amount of $4,501,604.80 as presented.
Second.
I don't like reading the numbers.
Ms. Venman?
Aye.
Dr. Maria?
Aye.
Ms. Simulton?
Aye.
Mr. Gatewood?
Aye.
Ms. Johnson?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Action item 12.2, approval of fiscal year 24 budget amendment. Can I have a motion, please?
I make a motion to approve the amendment of the fiscal year 24 budget to be in compliance with section 17-1.5 of the school code.
Second.
Dr. Maria?
Aye.
Ms. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Gatewood?
Aye.
Ms. Venmus?
Aye.
Ms. Simulton?
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Action item 12.3, approval of fiscal year 25 budget. Can I have a motion, please?
I make a motion to approve the fiscal year 25 budget as presented.
Second.
Dr. Maria?
Aye.
Ms. Venmus?
Aye.
Ms. Simulton?
Aye.
Mr. Gatewood?
Aye.
Ms. Johnson?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Action item 12.4, approval of SEL curriculum and universal screener. Can I have a motion, please?
I make a motion to approve the SEL equity of K-8 curriculum implementation and the SEL equity grade 3 through 12 universal screening implementation plan, screener implementation plan.
Easy for you to say. Second. I said easy for you to say.
Mr. Gatewood?
Aye.
Ms. Johnson? Aye. Ms. Venmus?
Aye.
Dr. Maria?
Aye.
Ms. Simulton?
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Action item 12.5, approval of American Sign Language ASL proposal. Can I have a motion, please?
I make a motion to approve the purchase of the resource for a new course, ASL, American Sign Language, from True Way for the 2024-2025 school year.
Second.
Dr. Maria?
Aye.
Ms. Simulton?
Aye.
Ms. Venmus?
Aye.
Mr. Gatewood?
Aye.
Ms. Johnson?
With massive gratitude, aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Action item 12.6, approval of First Solutions Transportation Agreement. Can I have a motion, please?
I make a motion to approve First Solution Transportation Agreement as presented.
Second.
Ms. Venmus?
Aye.
Ms. Simulton?
Aye.
Mr. Gatewood?
Aye.
Dr. Maria?
Aye.
Ms. Johnson?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Action item 12.7, approval of rejecting bids for concrete work. Can I have a motion, please?
I make a motion to reject all bids and conduct a rebid for this project based on there only being one bid that adequately covered the scope of the project.
Second.
Dr. Maria?
Aye.
Ms. Simulton?
Aye.
Ms. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Gatewood?
Aye.
Ms. Venmus?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Action item 12.8, approval of fees. Can I have a motion, please?
I make a motion to approve the proposed increase of 10 cents for lunch meals only and the rental classification fees as outlined.
Second.
Ms. Simulton?
Aye.
Ms. Venmus?
Aye.
Dr. Maria?
Aye.
Mr. Gatewood?
Aye.
Ms. Johnson?
Aye.
Action item motion passes 5-0. Action item 12.9, approval of energy contract renewal. Can I have a motion, please?
Make a motion to approve the renewal of our energy contract with Constellations for a term of 12 months encompassing both natural gas and electric commodities.
Second.
Mr. Gatewood?
Aye.
Ms. Johnson?
Aye.
Ms. Venmus?
Aye.
Dr. Maria?
Aye.
Ms. Simulton?
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Action item 12.1, approval of insurance resolution.
12.10.
I'm sorry, 12.10. Approval of insurance resolutions. Can I have a motion, please?
I make a motion to approve the resolution for membership in the Property and Casualty Insurance and Workers' Compensation Insurance Cooperative.
Second.
Ms. Venmus?
Aye.
Mr. Gatewood?
Aye.
Ms. Simulton?
Aye.
Dr. Maria?
Aye.
Ms. Johnson?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Action item 12.11, approval of homestead marquee. Can I have a motion, please?
Make a motion to award the contract for the new Homestead Elementary School marquee to Correct Digital Display.
Second.
Mr. Gatewood?
Aye.
Dr. Mario?
Aye.
Ms. Johnson?
Aye.
Ms. Simulton?
Aye.
Ms. Venmus?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Action item 12.12, second read and approval of policies. Can I have a motion, please?
I make a motion to approve the following board policies. Section 2, School Board 2:40, 2:125, 2:260, 2:265, 2:270. Section 4, Operational Services 4:190. Section 5, General Personnel 5:10, 5:20, 5:60, 5:100, 5:300. And Section 7, Students 7:10, 7:20, 7:180.
All
Second.
right, any questions?
I do have a question. Dr. Kincaid, I know that at one point we changed the term minority recruitment. Are we leaving that in the title? I'm sorry, that is for policy number 5:10. We had a lot of discussion about that last year. I wasn't sure.
And I thought.
It is required by law. Thank you. I think that, I wasn't sure if that was what. And then the second thing is, who are our Title IX certified?
So, yep, it's Mr. Bell.
Okay.
And
Will
then-
that get changed with Mr. Miller leaving?
So, Mr. Miller will come out.
Once.
And then, correct, at the end of this month. But he is not the Title IX coordinator. He is a non-discrimination coordinator. So then he will be replaced by a different member of
Thank you.
the HR.
Sorry, I
team.
mixed two questions together.
Nope. And then we also have, obviously, Title IX investigators, of which we have both genders, just so that there is comfortability in those types of.
So obviously, Mr. Miller's, he will be here through June or whatever. So we're approving it now, but you will update it at the
Correct,
end.
and that is something we can update at any time.
Anytime.
The names of those two coordinators.
Right.
Without board approval.
Thank you.
Yep.
Dr. Mario?
Aye.
Ms. Simulton?
Aye.
Ms. Johnson?
Aye.
Mr. Gatewood?
Aye.
Ms. Venmus?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Action item 12.13, approval of settlement agreement. Can I have a motion, please?
I make a motion to approve the settlement agreement to resolve the case number 2023 Cat Frank 2429 pending before the Illinois Department of Human Rights.
Second.
Ms. Simulton?
Aye.
Ms. Venmus?
Aye.
Dr. Mario?
Aye.
Mr. Gatewood?
Aye.
Ms. Johnson?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. 13.1, can I have a motion to adjourn?
I have a question. No, I'm just kidding.